Sanbanani and Timelanganap Sheni to everybody out there. I am the Lady of the Wise, Nelly Indlovugazi, and welcome to another exciting episode of Wisdom with Nelly M. As you know, in studio, I'm not always alone. I'm with this amazing and phenomenal lady. She's called Roseanne.
Yes.
Welcome, Roseanne. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name is Roseanne Marcel Kamfer. I am from Cape Town, been living in Joburg since 2012. Love it here. The city is phenomenal. I have one son, Tammy. He's quite a colorful, funky character. And I am in HR. I am head of human capital at a tech startup called Kandua, hence the, always rep pen. Yeah, and I absolutely love what I do. I love the city. The city has a pulse and a feel that, not hating on Cape Town, love Cape Town, but there's just something about Joburg that's amazing. I love it here.
You spoke about Cape Town. Explain to us, how was your childhood growing up in Cape Town and all of that?
For the most part, it was really great. I have an amazing family. I have a really big family. We love getting together. We love getting together around food. Right now, we're sitting in my office, and anybody who is in my office will tell you that I'm always cooking, I'm always bringing food, and I always say, for as long as I'm not going to have a six-pack, you won't either. But back to Cape Town, yeah, growing up in Cape Town was really, really amazing. I think that there is one thing, and it may be a little bit controversial, that people don't really talk about, is Cape Town is a tough city to navigate as a woman of color, a colored woman specifically. I grew up having really, really big bushy hair, and I never felt like I was as pretty or as beautiful as other girls who had straight hair. And that's still, even up until today, I was at a dinner party last night and we were talking about it. It's still a thing in 2023. It's still a thing that if your hair is not straight in Cape Town, you're not beautiful. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, overall, besides that experience, childhood was amazing.
It was amazing. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay, Nelly, always with the questions.
One.
Okay.
What is it that you're holding on to that's holding you back?
Wow. Early in the morning, I haven't had coffee yet. Okay, what is it that I'm holding on to that's holding me back? I would say there's three things. One, some childhood trauma. I think we all of us have various levels of childhood trauma, and for me it's that thing that I spoke about earlier, the hair thing, right? And me just embracing myself, my hair, who I am. I'm Roy with the big hair. I'm Roy with the big bush of hair. Embracing that took a long time for me, and I still have some trauma where that is concerned. I wouldn't say that it's holding me back, but it is there in the back of my mind. Then career is a big part of my life. My career it means a lot to me, and I feel very privileged to be in the position that I'm in and to be able to do the work that I do. Mm-hmm. But I do have some previous work trauma from places that I've worked where I just felt unseen and discriminated against. Again, that's a whole nother episode, girl. Hey. And I always talk about this thing called previous work trauma, right? And for me, it is imposter syndrome. Coming into a company like Kandua, I was just embraced. My CEO just gave me free rein to do what I needed to do, and I kept thinking, like, something's gonna happen. Do I really belong here? Is this man setting me up for failure? And so imposter syndrome is such a heavy thing, and it's such a difficult thing for you to even realize that is what you're feeling. And as I was saying, 4 years into this job, I still feel that way sometimes. And one of the best things my CEO or another gent in the business, one of our founders always says to me is, Roy, I trust you. Roy, we trust you. And that feels so reassuring. For me. And then, the third thing, previous relationship trauma.
Relationships are always a trauma.
Listen, on our fridge, my son wrote, like, Jolo's no joke. Be safe out there.
I feel like it depends, though.
Listen. The streets are sometimes not very kind, Nelly. The streets are sometimes not very kind. But I think that the biggest lesson that I've learned is that I personally need to be very honest about how I feel when I'm feeling it. So when I'm feeling a little bit lonely, I feel vulnerable, I feel sad, I feel heartbroken. Sometimes I feel like not saying those things out loud and acknowledging them holds me back. But I'm learning. Now again, I didn't learn to deal with these complex emotions as a young person, growing up. My mother didn't know how to navigate her own feelings, much less guide me through navigating mine. So I'm learning.
And people think there's a manual to being a parent. Like, your mom's going through her own stuff. You're also going through your own stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, right now I am the mom to this funky 20-year-old tattooed blonde-haired DJ guy who's roaming the streets of Bram and, model DJ, what. But for me, the most important thing is this complex emotions thing, and I talk about it a lot. I'm going to give an example. I'm in some tea now. Mm-hmm. Yesterday we were driving home and I was going on about like random stuff and he was busy on the phone, busy texting someone. It was quite an intense conversation and I was like where he was at, like he was just having a moment. Like we were two completely different vibes. And he said to me, Mom, like, I can't be what you need me to be right now. I'm here. I'm focusing on this, conversation with this person and I need to be present here. I can't I'm talking about the shoes you ordered at Adidas and we must go do this and our trip to Cape Town and no, I need to buy this for home. And he was like, Mom, I can't meet you there right now. Please meet me where I'm at. And just reflecting on that later on, I was like, yeah, I wish I could have that with my mom, where I felt the freedom to be able to say that to her. This is where I'm at in the moment. Obviously, I also wanted to know, like, who you're talking to, what's going on, because it's just like, but that's none of my business, I still want to know though. Just the fact that he was comfortable enough to tell me, like, I can't do this with you right now, but in the most respectful way. I felt like, yeah, as a mom, I'm doing okay. Okay, you said that your son was able to like tell you he's not in that type of space and all of that. So do you think and recommend that honesty is always the best policy? Absolutely. There's this book right now that I'm obsessed with. It's called Radical Candor by Kim something. And in this book, she talks about how in a work environment, it is important for you to be honest.
So, is honesty always the best policy?
Absolutely, Nelly. Absolutely. I believe that honesty is always the best policy. So right now I'm obsessed with this book called Radical Candor by a lady called Kim something. And in this book, Kim talks about how employees in a workplace, the best thing that you can do for someone is to be honest with them, and the kindest thing. And she mentions that a lot, that word, like being kind, is the best thing that you can do for someone, is to be honest with them. Because if I'm not doing well, Nelly, and you're my manager, you can't just continue let me not doing well. The minute you see like a red flag or something like that, the kindest thing that you can do for me is to pull me aside and tell me very tactfully that, you're messing up here, you're always late, Roy, or whatever the case may be, so that you set me up for success. Because if you just leave me and Nelly's talking to Romeo's talking to Tommy, and I'm just like living in my bubble thinking that, I'm that bitch at work, and I'm not. So, and I feel like there's no reason why we can't also translate that to our personal lives. Because telling somebody the truth doesn't have to be mean, it doesn't have to be rude. We just have to learn how to navigate those conversations, and I think the foundation of that should always be kindness. Even when it's hard.
Okay. Another question is, what do you need more in your life right now, and what do you need less in your life right now?
More, what do I need more of? I would say time, but I know that's like impossible. But with that being said, what I'm working on is a better work-life balance. I had a big health scare last year. I had a stroke. I'm only 41. And
don't look 41.
well, thank you. And that really caused me to have a bit of a reset. And that stroke happened while my son Tommy and I, we were in the lounge together. And he was like, "Mom, what's going on with you?" I sent him a text message, and my text message that I sent him was all like jumbled. And I thought that what I was texting him was like a sentence that makes sense. And for a while I couldn't speak. I went to talk to him and I couldn't speak. So anyway, I had fluid on my brain and it was a whole thing. And I'm learning that work-life balance is the most important thing. As much as I love my job,
it is.
I'm not a machine and I can't save the world. Lean back.
Before we left, you were just speaking about your health. What about your health?
So, work-life balance is a big thing for me. And last year, I had this big health scare where I had the stroke, and Tommy was with me when it happened, and it was such a nerve-wracking thing, because you don't think at the age of 41, well, I don't feel 41, that is something that I'm going to have to deal with or struggle with, because if you think of either heart issues or those kind of very serious health issues, you associate that with much older people. But we're living a lot more fast-paced lives than our parents or our parents' and we have such a lot of we are consuming so much. There's social media, our Insta, our Facebook, our this, our that, and for me right now the biggest thing is that just finding that work-life balance. And I wouldn't say that I've hit it yet, I've hit the sweet spot yet, but I'm getting there. I'm definitely getting there.
Okay. So,
oh my gosh,
you complained last time that there's this pandemic that everyone is going through, that everyone suffers from. Umcholo.
Well.
Are you in a relationship right now?
As Tammy would say, I'm a single Pringle. But not sadly single. Very happily single. Yeah, just, hey, Nelly man, Mjolo, guys. It's no joke. I believe there's a follow-up question, because if Nelly looks like that, there's a follow-up question. Ask your question. Ask your question. Oh my gosh.
I wanted to also ask about being a single mother.
Yeah.
How has it been for you? The challenges of it?
I think that being a single mom is lonely. It's lonely. And we're supposed to just have our things together, and we're not supposed to say it's lonely. We're not supposed to say that, we're scared, I don't know, am I doing the right thing, and because as I mentioned previously, these complex emotions, we weren't taught how to be really, really open about them, right? But Mina, I'm just laying my khutes. I'm laying my khutes out there, because for me that's the best way to deal with it. It gets very, very lonely sometimes, and a lot of the time I'm thinking, am I doing the right thing? But I always go back to, if I look at my product, Tamine, is he kind? Is he respectful? Is he happy? Is he able to navigate his own complex emotions? Is he able to, like I mentioned earlier, in the car, he's able to tell me, Mom, I can't meet you at your level right now. That gives me the assurance that, okay, I'm doing an okay job with this kid. It doesn't make it easy though. I think as kids grow up, the challenges just become different, because now even Tammy's involved in the mjolo, we're at a party together, and now people are like, hey Roy, people are looking at, the ladies, they are looking at Tammy, and 10 years ago I had other challenges with him, but yeah, I'm just learning how to navigate with grace and kindness.
That's great. So you spoke about your career, your work, you mentioned HR.
Yes.
Please elaborate for us, explain more to us about that.
Okay, so guys, this is such HR, or as it's now being called, human capital. So bougie, né? I love human capital. It is something that's so close to my heart. I never knew what I wanted to do growing up. And I think that a lot of young people struggle with that. They just don't know what they want to do. I started out as a teacher. I was a grade R teacher. And I fell into that just because I didn't know what else to do, and a friend of mine was going to get enrolled, and my mother was pressurizing me like, there's no gap year here. Colored moms, guys, are no joke. Ask Tammy. There's no gap year situation. So I did that. And it was alright. The money was very little. I remember with my first paycheck, I went to the waterfront, bought 2 diesel jeans, and I didn't have taxi fare to go home. But I always knew that even though I enjoyed that job, it was something that was not for me. I ended up then being a stylist. I worked in retail. I did a lot of different things. And then I worked at an agency, or production house rather, and I was selling advertising sales in a magazine. And it was there that I started really thinking about, what do I want to do with my life? And I started thinking about just who am I as a person. One, I'm very nosy. Indabas, tell me all of the indabas. Even if it's about people I don't know, tell me the indabas, okay? So I'm super nosy. I love indabas. And I also have a very deep love for people. But I didn't think that HR or human capital, I didn't think that would be a thing for me, right? Anyway, I went on to occupy various positions in advertising agencies. Most of the time it was in an administrative capacity, and that's where I started honing my love for HR and the people management side of things. And I realized that there's some crappy HR people out there. People don't care. People don't care about people. It's just a job. And for me, it's not just a job. I really, really care very deeply about the people, not only in my organization that I love, Kandua, but also just people at work in general. So I'm always giving advice and helping people. So besides making sure that our team have the contracts that they're supposed to have and those normal everyday HR stuff, there's a lot of things that go along with my job that people wouldn't think is a job. I often cook for the team. It's winter, we're going through a lot. Our company's going through a lot of changes, and at home, what do we do? In my home, how I grew up, we get together, my mom cooks, we sit around the kitchen table, we make a lot of jokes, and we break bread together. And that always eases tension, it makes people feel calm, organic conversations come from there, people are able to support each other, and. So if you go and look at what the definition of HR is, and what I do, the definition versus what I do, I'm on level 9,000. That's no, and I can say that with my chest. I can say that with my chest because I care. I really, really care about my peeps.
And last time you mentioned that you hug everybody.
Yes, we do that. So I grew up in a home that wasn't very touchy-feely. My mom wasn't a very affectionate mom. I think my mom and I only started hugging. She's probably going to watch this and then she's going to want to corner me about this. So let me try to be accurate. I think my mom and I only started hugging. I'm 41 now. Maybe 10 years ago. Maybe 10 years ago, my mom and I started hugging, and then it was, have you ever hugged somebody and then it's like,
should I not? Yeah.
You know, it's like a breakdance vibe. And now it's very organic and very comfortable. And the funny thing is, I saw my mom about a week ago, and when I walked in, I went to surprise them at home. She was the initiator. Imagine. She was the initiator of
and
the.
She hugged you.
Yeah. She was like, "You're not even gonna say hello. You're not even gonna hug your mother." I'm like, "Ah, look at you. We've evolved, ne? We've evolved." So, at work, sometimes I would, and it's just how I feel and how I feel the vibe is. I call myself the chief vibes officer. Like I can sense the vibe. I would just go around and randomly hug people. No talking. Come, get up, hug, quick hug, and then off we go. And more often than not, people say, "Wow, I really needed that today. That little bit of affection and that little bit of
I think
love."
everybody needs that.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, in closing, what are your words of wisdom, motivation for the young people out there like me and other people as well? What can you say?
I think the biggest life lesson that I've learned is to a couple of things actually. One, self-awareness is so important because self-awareness teaches you a multitude of skills.
True.
So one thing that I'm noticing a lot is the ability to read the room, and I'm sure a lot of us had that experience where somebody comes into a conversation, whether that be a WhatsApp group or in person, and you're like, but bro, what are you saying?
Exactly.
Read the room. Can't you sense the vibe in here? But that comes with self-awareness and time, so lean into your self-awareness and learn and get to know yourself, who are you, and then you'll be able to pick up
You know that in South Africa we've got a bigger pandemic, unemployment. There are a lot of people who have graduated, they're at home. So what 5 tips do you have to motivate and to tell someone out there how they can get jobs as well? Because they're graduates sitting at home.
Yeah. This is something that is so close to my heart because a lot of people are just lost after school, after high school, or even just after graduating, right? Because our schools, most of the time, and our universities don't really focus too much on, okay, how do you navigate your way post, this education that you're getting, right? And the first thing that I want to say may seem a little bit harsh, but guys, we're living in a society where most of us have smartphones, okay? Now, when Casper Nyovest puts out a diss track, we are going to Google that diss track. We're going to find out where we can download it for free. We are going to find out, who's saying what about the diss track. We're going to find out the lyrics quick, fast. Quick. But when it comes to what do I do after school? How do I navigate this? I'm interested in this topic. We don't spend, or at least in my experience, young people don't spend enough time just researching how to, where to. Because I can give you some cookie cutter responses here. But that research aspect and just going to find out, there's so many tests online that you can take for free. Helping you navigate, okay, what is it actually that I'm supposed to do after school? What am I good at? Or where can I find this internship? There's such a lot of information online, but we're not utilizing what is right at our disposal for the right needs. People want to see what was Beyonce's concerts like. Where can I go and see that video of Blue Ivy dancing with her mom? We're on top of it, guys. We are on top of it. But are you on top of your life? Are you on top of next steps for your career? Are you on top of what should a good CV look like? How many of you have Googled what should a good CV look like? Compare mine to what's out there and do some proper research. That being said, as an HR professional, the one skill that I look for, and I know other HR professionals also look for in candidates, is the ability to do research. That is such a critical skill. And the quicker you learn how to do that for yourself in your personal capacity, the better. And what you'll find out there will shock you. I quickly want to move to your CV. You must have a CV. Whether you have only the experience on there is 0, it doesn't matter. You've gone through school, you can write a little bio about yourself, you can introduce yourself to an audience or somebody that you can send your CV to. You can tell me a little bit about your interests, the things that you're interested in. You can put on there, free courses that you've done, etc., etc. You must have a CV. Now, let me say this. If your CV in 2023 still has a cover page that says CV off as the first page, please stop doing that immediately. Please stop doing it now. Go and erase that page immediately. Also, CVs are looking very sexy these days, ladies and gentlemen. CVs are looking very sexy. If you don't know Canva, go check out Canva. There's some amazing free templates.
Is a good app.
Canva is so great, and it's for free. There is Grammarly, that's also a good app. So 1, research, 2, CV, 3, apps. There's so many free apps at your disposal that you can use to make you look amazing. The ones that I love in particular are 1, Canva, because it has some great CV templates, and the other one is Grammarly, because where we fall short is spelling and grammar, because we've learned how to type in shorthand. Lol. You know, BRB. You can't be talking like that as a young professional, ladies and gents, and Grammarly will help you with that. Then number 4, I think be very careful when you're out there looking for jobs. I always see it on our community groups, like there's this building in the CBD, don't go there because they charge you to find a job for you, and then when you go there, you pay your 200 rand and you never hear from them again. A proper recruiter, or a recruiter who's legit, will never ask you for money to find you a job. This is how recruitment works. So big recruitment companies, let's say for example, Nelly is a recruiter. Nelly's recruitment. And Nelly's looking for HR people for a good corporate, for a big corporate, right? Nelly will find Roy, and Nelly will say, Roy, send me your CV, send me all your credentials. She doesn't even need my CV. I mean, not my CV, my ID. Another thing, your ID must never be on your CV. You don't need my ID. You just need my employment history, right? She'll send my CV along with others to her client, the one who's looking for HR people, and then we'll go through a process of selection, right? Now, how does Nelly make her money? That client who has employed Nelly to find the people for her will charge her a rate, anything from, I'd say 12 to 30% of my annual salary. So let's say, for example, my salary is 10,000 rand a month, right? Then it means my annual salary is 120,000 rand. So that client of Nelly's who's employed her to find the people will charge her X amount percentage of my annual salary. That doesn't come from the money the company will pay me. That company pays Nelly that money over and above what they're going to pay me as my salary. That's how you know a recruiter is legit. You should never be paying for somebody to help you find a job. That's the first warning sign. That's how you know it's not legit. Then the last thing that I just want to mention is there's a thing called applicant tracker software, right? Now, applicant tracker software, usually big corporates use the system, and I'm sure a lot of you have encountered this. You go onto a big corporate's website and there's a careers tab, and you click on that careers tab and they show you all the positions that are open and available, and then it can help you navigate. You navigate through that system, you upload your CV, you talk a little bit about yourself, and that system, that applicant tracker system, takes all of that information, and then it audits or scans that information. So as an HR person of a big corporate, I can say I'm looking for somebody with 3 years customer service experience. I'm looking for something like this, this, and this. I can put in some keywords, and then once these people submit their CVs, it can then segment all of those CVs, those profiles with those keywords, and then I can go through a further segmentation process so I get to my final list. Now, Roy, how do I bypass the system? How do I navigate that system? By reading the job spec. Read the job spec thoroughly. And if you read your job spec thoroughly, you'll know what to focus on when you put your application through. And it would also mean that sometimes maybe you need to change up or switch up your CV a little bit so that it talks to what they're asking for in your job spec. Those are your 5 tips.
Thank you so much, Roy. Thank you that you're with us and we spend time with you. We really, really appreciate it, and all the best with whatever that you're doing.
Thank you. Sorry, Nelly. Here's to many more. I just want to get my last word in. Here's to many more conversations with Nelly.
And there you go, Mzansi. That was Roy explaining to us and telling us more about herself. If you love this video, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and comment in the section down below. I am your host with the most, Nelly Indlovukazi, and see you next time on another exciting episode of Wisdom with Nelly M. And I love you all.